All right, let's talk about the concepts behind tuning your bass line. The thing that I would say first, as far as the most important aspect of tuning a bass line, in my opinion, is what is the show? What is the music for the show, and what is the musical mood or vibe that you're trying to capture with the show? I don't necessarily believe that you have to find like the tuning scheme or pitches that sound the best on the bass line and then do those every single year, verbatim, same head choices, same tuning, so on and so forth. Feel free to experiment. Feel free to break out your comfort zone a little bit and put some thought into how to tune the basses and why to tune them and how that is relevant with the show that they're performing. Like for example, if you are in a college band situation, you're doing music of the 70s, you're doing a bunch of rock charts, so on and so forth, you might consider, depending on how the arranging is, tuning the bottom bass more like a kick drum on a drum set, having to have a more muffled impact approach and maybe less of a tonal approach. But then if let's say you're doing a full classical show, you're doing a Requiem show this year or something, then you might look at more, okay, well, what is the melodic voice that the bass line can fit within this? And so don't be scared to kind of tweak and adjust your tuning from year to year on the bass line. Don't feel like you have to do the same thing every year. And now as far as that goes, there's a couple different theories. Some people believe that drums weren't meant necessarily to hold pitches, and so you shouldn't use actual pitches to tune to the drums. You should find sounds that sound good on them and that hold really good with those specific drums and go to that. Other people have very specific pitch-based tuning schemes with your interval-act relationships, like a fifth, fourth, so on and so forth. I kind of fit somewhere in the middle with my personal tuning philosophy. In general, I like to have find a pitch that sounds best on bottom. I like to start with the bottom drum. And the reason why is because the bottom drum is the loudest in terms of how far it carries. And also, when you're playing your unisons, the majority of the sound you're hearing from a unison is the bottom drum. So I try to start with bottom and find a pitch that sounds very good on bottom. And then if they sit well, and again, kind of show dependent, I do like to do drum 4 up a fifth and then 4 to 3 a fourth. Like I like to have like that tonic, dominant, tonic relationship, kind of that power chord on the bottom 3. And if you do that, it makes your unisons very powerful. They have a very strong sound and great presence to them if you end up going with that approach. In those situations with the top 2 drums, I usually don't go pitch specific or interval specific, I guess I should say in this case, as much as I try to make sure that there is a clear separation between the two and the pitch on them sounds good. In general, I think that's a good rule of thumb for your bass line whenever possible, is to have that clear sense of separation between the drums. Like if you hear the drum in the distance, can you tell immediately if that's drum 3 or drum 4? If the pitches are too close together, I think sometimes what happens is it gets muddled, and as they come across to the audience, you don't have quite the range you would. You don't have quite the melodic range that you would if there was some more clear separation. Again, I'm not saying that to intentionally choke off any drums or whatnot. Use your best judgment and put your ear on it. But these are some fundamental bass drum tuning concepts that I would employ as I go to tune my line.